Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Um, this week we're going to talk a little bit about organization, which is a big one. Lots of family arguments probably around this. Organization is designing and maintaining a system for keeping information, keeping materials, keeping our stuff. Uh, Here's the big problem that I will going to say to you. What you find organized and what your child find organized are two very different things. And you probably see this when you say, go clean up your room or go clean up the playroom or go do whatever it is you want the child to do. And so they go, they do it, they come back, and it wasn't what you had in mind. It's definitely what the kid has in mind, and that's where the disconnect happens. Is organization to you, organization to me, organization to other people, it's all going to look different. And so you have to kind of do a little give and take with your child to kind of build in some organizational systems and what that's going to look like. So your child has a room, it's full of stuff, they can't find anything, they're getting ready in the morning, they have no idea where things are. You say, go clean your room. I find anything on the floor, it's going to Goodwill. They pick up everything off the floor, they put it all away, but it's still not to your um, to your idea and your perception of clean. So how do you match up with your child? First of all, you have a discussion. What does picked up and what does clean look like? Your kids are in middle school, so you want them to have a little bit of independence, but be able to find things. Excuse me. So one of the things that you may want to do is you may want to, sometimes having bins can be helpful where we put things in. I've seen even houses where they have like cubbies, so every day that's where the kids' backpack goes. They empty out their lunchbox, they put it back in there. That's where their shoes go, so that way they can be found the next morning. In the bedrooms, same thing can be used. You could have bins for Legos or for dolls or for hair supplies, whatever it may be. Another really good trick is visuals. And I'm not just talking lists. Lists are definitely helpful in keeping things organized. But visuals, think about using colors and think about using pictures. So you and your child go through and you clean the room together. You kind of do a big room gutting. We do a spring cleaning. It's getting that time of year. Do a big room gutting with your child. Throw away what isn't going to be used. Figure out a place where these things are going to go that are going to be kept, and then take pictures of it. That will give you and your child a way to think about how to keep things organized and what it should look like, what organization looks like. So you'll want to cue your child, hopefully on a weekly basis, to, like, why don't you go straighten up your room? Why don't you go straighten up this area? And then they can go to the pictures and they can look at it. You might want to have some lists of things that they have to do every week. Maybe it's like vacuuming on one day, dusting on another day, changing the sheets on the bed another day. And getting into those types of routines will really help them at home for organize. Sometimes backpacks, when we talk about kind of a homeschool connection, backpacks. Most kids have backpacks. Sometimes it's really helpful, and this is kind of a new way to think about it, but thinking about September and getting used to it and starting something now so that way you can use it in September. Think about having a pocket specifically set aside for a job. So the big pocket may be where the Chromebook goes or the notebook goes. Maybe one of the smaller pockets, that's where some notes to and from school go. So that way the pockets have like a job, and so not everything gets smashed into that big section just at the bottom. Getting schoolwork organized, which is really, really difficult because sometimes kids are rushing towards the end. They've got their classes, they're doing their notes, and they rush at the end and they stuff everything in the notebook, and it gets stuffed into that backpack, and 3 months later it's an explosion and they can never find anything. So a lot of times I see parents will purchase really big binders with different colored notebooks and different colored folders, and that is great because that looks like a good organization system. You've got different colors, and every color is for a different class or whatever pictures on the front is for a different class, and those can be very helpful and very help students a lot with organization. However, sometimes that's too much. An easier way to break that down even more is to have two folders. I'm going to choose red and green. So the green folder is any new assignment that that child gets. You know, they get to class, they pull out just two folders, a green folder and a red folder. The green folder is for assignments that they get that day from all their classes, and they put it in there. The red folder is assignments that they have to turn in. So they sit down, the first thing they do, they pull out their folders, they pick up the red folder, and they look, what assignment for this class do I have to turn in? I got it done the night before. It goes from the green folder into the red folder turned into the teacher. So that can be very helpful, but then you're sitting here thinking, well, that green folder is going to get filled up pretty quick. You don't leave things in the green folder. So they sit down at night. You're going to need to help them at first and walk them through this. But you take every paper out of the green folder and you look at it. What class is this for? Math. And is it homework? Is this done? Is this something that needs to be turned in? Whatever it may be. So if it's something that's going to keep, at that point you can transfer it into the bigger binder. Or bigger folder, or whatever it may be that you choose to keep the assignments for longer term. And if it's scrap paper, you know that gets to be thrown away. It's really essential that you walk your child through this on a daily basis. I know that seems like a lot, but remember, this is kind of a new skill, and parents and teachers are really good at developing organization systems for really little kids. You think about the cleanup song that they used to sing when it was time to clean up and they knew what to do, and different routines. Your children are older now, so the routines definitely have to change, but it still needs to be done the same way every day. And that's going to be really important to do. Eventually you write it down. So you're going to be writing down the steps. You kind of talk through the steps. Okay, step 1, pull out the green folder. Pull out the red folder. Step 2, go through the green folder and identify what classes the assignments are for. Step 3, identify your homework, whatever it may be that you and your child work out. But that's the way to break down that big binder that kids sometimes don't use because they still just stuff everything in it. So think about that. And that's very visual, using colors. Sometimes when, if you think about our executive functioning, if you look at some work with Sarah Ward, there is what we call something that they're working on, something that's coming up, and then how do you know it's done? What does done look like? And that's part of an organization system too, is what is the end product going to look like? And that we've talked a little bit about through our planning and through the time management, but really talking about for organization, what does that end product look like? And sometimes teachers give examples of what the end assignment should look like. Sometimes teachers will give rubrics as to what the end assignment will look like. And it's also a good idea to kind of visualize and think about what the child wants their end product to look like. And we need to be a little flexible about that, because sometimes what we visualize doesn't actually come to fruition. But you definitely want to think about that. It's going to be important to build time each day, whatever time it is when you set up your schedule, however that's going to look like, to build it up every day. And then, part of the routine, part of the organization is to be ready the night before. Is the folders or whatever you're using to keep track of assignments, is it in the backpack? Where is the backpack? Is it right by the door? Maybe you have a chair by the door. Are the shoes ready to go? If your kid can't decide what to wear in the morning, maybe that's what they have to do the night before. So setting aside time for your child to use their organizational strategy that you guys have set aside. And really monitor it. And again, this means daily for a very long time before the monitoring can be faded and before you can start doing it, say, on a weekly or even monthly basis. Some of you may have been like the room cleaning thing you may be doing for a while. Your kids got it. Not so much, maybe a little bit. Hopefully the pictures will help. But they may be able to do some of these things on their own, but especially the homework and the assignment thing. Definitely take time every day to work on organization and be ready And that way, hopefully, your mornings are a little less hectic. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.